my name is Bree, and welcome to Bree's Cuisine. It's my first time sitting down with you guys to have a chat. A proper chat in my studio. So I love to cook and I love to bake, and I especially love to make things with flour. And so I've really gotten into flour lately. If you follow my page at all, you know that I like to make pasta. I love to make cookies, cakes, lots of other things. But like I said, biscuits, how could I forget about biscuits? But again, a lot of things that have to do with flour. And for Christmas, just this past year, my wife gifted me a book. It's called The Lost Supper. Here it is. Which, sidebar, is kind of funny because she saw this book and was like, this is totally some shit that you would like. And she's totally right, because I was very fascinated about this book. So shout out to you, babe. But the purpose of this book, the premise of this book, I guess, is we're in a food crisis. If you didn't know, we were in a food crisis. We're in a food crisis. And we really need to all eat more sustainably. So his idea is, it's not just about eating, using more traditional methods or thinking about our consumption, but it's also about literally eating like our ancestors, eating more simply, but like eating what our ancestors ate. And so I was like, well, yeah, I'm totally about that. I love making handmade pasta. I love doing things from scratch. I love finding out, what my grandmothers did and trying to do a little bit of that. I'm all on board with that, right? I love it. Start reading this book, and he is going way deeper than that, right? Eating what our ancestors ate is actually about, like, literally, what did our ancestors eat? What did the hunter-gatherers eat thousands and thousands of years ago? And, how can we eat more sustainably, eat a more variety of foods, eat a more diverse, taboo, eating a variety of foods to both sustain our bodies, keep us healthier, but also sustaining our planet, right? We can't just eat the same things all the time. So we can't have chicken wings every night for dinner, right? Thinking about like the three sisters of planting different things that go together, right? Keeping our soils healthy by not planting over the same soil without replenishing the nutrients that are actually in the soil, right? Parts of farming and understanding, how food is grown and how certain foods can be healthier or less healthy based on how it is grown, right? I know a little bit about that. But what I didn't know, especially in the US, the types of wheat available to us that we make all of these different flours from that we use is actually overused. There's so many other types of grains that we could use that have a lot of nutritional value, but also, just a genetic variety of foods that we should really be eating that's not even available to us because of the way big agriculture has taken over our food systems. This guy's actually talking about the types of grains, right? And he goes like back. Like, if I think that I love history, this guy is going like way further back than me, okay? So like, for example, again, he talks about all kinds of food from pigs, feral pigs that are on like the Georgian coastal islands, to types of like garum that was very popular in the Roman ages, to, like I said, other kinds of just general like plant diversity, right? Things that are absolutely edible to humans that we've just sort of like lost the taste for, I guess you could say, okay? But what he's talking about here as it relates to flour is going back around 10,000 years, maybe even before that, to Mesopotamia, Fertile Crescent, right? This is sort of around the time of what we generally know as the location and time of when wheat was first domesticated, okay? The oldest genetic crop or wheat rather, that they actually ate at that time is something called einkorn. Einkorn has been growing wild on the earth, on our planet for 500 million years. So for millions and millions of years, einkorn grew wild in this area. When we popped up on this planet and started domesticating and creating civilizations, now we're just 10,000 years in the past, okay? So relatively recent history, okay? It grew wild, and at some point they realized they could eat it. They started saving the seeds, started planting the seeds, maybe trying to save them. Who knows? Again, 10,000 years ago. But they did, okay? And then as civilization started to settle a bit, okay, now we are domesticating wheat, growing it intentionally. The wild einkorn that used to grow in Mesopotamia is now being domesticated all throughout the Fertile Crescent. Time goes by, 1,000 years, let's say we're around like 7,000-ish BC now. And at some point along that way, I am not a crop geneticist, so pardon my language, but I'll say it how I understand it. We started to cross-pollinate with einkorn, again, this wild, one of the wild wheats, one of the wild grasses that grew in this area, with another wild grass. And we created something called emmer, okay? And so emmer is something that I've heard of. Einkorn I had not, but emmer I had heard of because emmer is a close relative of something called durum wheat. And durum wheat is something that I talk about because it's what semolina is made from, or semola. And as a pasta maker, obviously I know a lot of it about semolina, semola, and the types of grains that are commonly used in Italian cooking. So my ear kind of perked up, or my eyes, because I was reading. But anyway, when I heard emmer, because I was like, wait a minute, I know what that is. That's very interesting. Where did this come from, okay? And so like, how did we get from emmer to durum? And then I was like, wait a minute. And then how did we get from einkorn to emmer? So here we are. Now he's really piqued my interest. I mean, he had it before, but like he was talking about lots of different foods. And so like I said, flour is when I'm really like, ooh, what are we talking about here? Because I'm just like recently obsessed with it. Anyway, einkorn, 500 million years, chilling, having a great time living and growing on the planet. 10,000 years ago, we eat these things and say, hey, this is good for our bodies. Let's keep eating it. Let's save it. Let's grow it so we know we'll have it rather than just collecting it in the wild. 9,000 BC. Oh, there's other wild grasses. Maybe we can eat those. Maybe we like them. Maybe we don't. Let's start growing them next to each other. La, 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 la. All of a sudden, we have emmer. And then same thing happens, okay? We have emmer, okay? Other things like spelt. There's lots of different types of grains that also have kind of probably been lost to history as well. But what's interesting is einkorn and emmer have holes that actually that are basically hard to get to. You really have to like whack at it, right, and really like pop it open to dehull it, okay, or to dehusk it rather, to actually get to what is edible, okay. Eventually, they realized that they could start to grow what's called a naked grain. A naked grain is durum. Durum is a naked grain, and what that means is it doesn't have the super hard husk of emmer or of einkorn. And so humans like to do things that are easy. As we learn, we become more efficient, and we realize, oh, this durum wheat is actually a lot easier to produce and basically to eat than these other wheats that we used to use. So einkorn, emmer, they kind of fall to the wayside, and durum wheat becomes something more widely domesticated. So now we're in like 7,000 BC, okay? That durum pops up on the scene, okay? So now we're using this for thousands and thousands of years, okay? Now we have what we say is modern day Turkey, okay? So Turkey is this area that is generally speaking known to be the origin of wheat domestication, and it's actually where literally where he starts his book. He starts his journey literally in Turkey, looking for this emmer grain, looking for like the actual emmer grain. And that was very, very cool because I was like, ooh, I thought I liked to go deep. You go deep. Like you go to the ancient grains in Turkey, the actual birthplace 10,000 years ago of where this grain was apparently first grown. Ooh, that is deep. So fascinating book. I do recommend it if any of this is of interest to you at all. The Lost Supper. Let's go back into my head because as someone who is researching flour, who makes pasta all the time and had been researching lots of different flours and companies and different things like that, I had not really thought about the grain itself, where the wheat came from, who made it, how do we, what wheats do we have access to, what grains do we have access to, how is it milled, who grew it, how is it processed, right? All of these things, right? My mind just like blew up into all these different things that I wanted to think about and research. And so the first thing I thought about is einkorn. What is einkorn? And how can I get some? So I started doing my research. I live in Illinois and I found this mill a little bit downstate, and I decided to take myself on a field trip to find some einkorn, and it was actually a success. Because I got myself some einkorn from Janie's Mills. I also got myself some of their Italian style wheat. And then also durum. So I didn't get emmer, I just kind of split the two. So I got some einkorn. So, got semolina, the einkorn flour I was talking about, durum, then, again, I am a pasta maker, right? So I've got some semola ramacinata, which is from the source, different source, right? But from Italy. So it's some semolina flour, 100% origin Italy, 100% grano italiano. And then I got, for funsies, King Arthur, Bob's Red Mill, Molina, Bob's Red Mill, 00 flour, and is that it? Is that all the flours? Oh, and then I also got Janie's Mill Italian style pasta, basically. I mean, Italian style flour. Basically, their 00 flour. So, Janie's Mills, King Arthur, Bob's Red Mills, Sempre Sant, Grano Italiano, the Semola Ramacinata, durum, our modern ancient grain relative, durum, and again, einkorn. So I've been busy, but I've been having a lot of fun researching, learning about grains, learning just another way of how our food system has failed us, and making a lot of really delicious pasta along the way. I am gonna share my video from Janie's Mills next because it was super fun to ride down there and see the mill. It was a great time with other people that honestly, anyone who is on a random day doing a flour mill tour is probably someone that I could be friends with. So no surprise, I met a lot of really great people when I was down there. I follow some of them, so hello to you if you're watching this, but I'll post that video next, and then I'll post some of the pastas that I've been making from these different flours, and let's talk about what I've noticed. At the end, I'll probably do some kind of taste test. I'll probably just make and freeze all these different pastas that I'm making, and then tell you guys more about what I've learned about these pastas. I'm sorry, what I've learned about these flours, and what I've learned about just the various nutritional benefits of eating a variety of grains, seeds, all kinds of plant matter. It's really, really important to eat a variety of foods, as much of a variety of foods as you can to keep your body healthy, and just in general, it's good for you and it's good for the planet. So those are my thoughts for today. I look forward to sharing more videos with you soon about flour. If there's anything that you have questions about as it relates to flour, I'd love to answer them if I know them, and I would love to research and find that answer for you if I don't. So either way, I do hope that you'll continue to watch these, this series as I post, and maybe even try out a different flour. Try out a new flour the next time that you make something or bake something, and tell me how it went. So thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting Breeze Cuisine, and I'll talk to you later. Ciao.
There are 2 stones in here, and they're about 6 inches. This one's stationary, and this one is going about 63,000 RPM. Oh, there we go. All right, so, wait a minute. I had this on. I know I did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Room in this tote. There is 2,800 pounds of grain in there. It is a gravity system, so it's coming down through here. There are 2 ways that we can control the stones, and this will make the stones get closer or farther away. So here's the mill itself. The next process is this vacuum tube, and it goes up into that silver machine, and those are the sifters. Now, the sifters are going just kind of like an old-fashioned flour sifter. It will, and I think of the screen too, because they are just screens. So this 15 minutes with glove, we'll put their hand in there and then check it to be sure. you've heard the phrase nose to the grindstone. Thank you. Thank you for taking care of me. Nose to the grindstone. Honestly, a good miller has to use most of their senses, because if it gets too close, it will start a burning smell. Yep. So, you know, they're going to be, and then they can hear it and, of course, feeling it. The sewing machine. Yes, thank you. Put that up. All right. So this sewing machine doesn't have to do the 1.5. I didn't tell you about these. These are hand sealed with a little anner right there.
The noise.
Either way.
All of these berries.
In 1.5 and 3 pound bags. The 10, 25, and 50s are out there. On occasion, we do get an online order for a 50. If you come closer, Henry, then people can even, The berries and corn products are on the top 2.